What up, y'all? It's OG Cuicide. It's OG Cuicide in the building. My first live stream. Y'all tuned in. Thank y'all for tuning in. And today, I got my loved one, man, Kelpy in the building with me, man. What's good, man?
Just chilling in life, trying to, be the best me I can be.
Yeah?
Yeah. How about you?
Man, I'm definitely good, man. I'm definitely good, man. Want to get into, man, like, you growing up, man, like, how was it with you growing up, man, as a kid? Where you grew up at?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. There's definitely people that have had it a lot worse, but it also wasn't easy because I moved around a lot growing up. I've lived in Central Orange County, South Orange County. I think I moved around like seven times or so, just apartments to apartments. When the landlord would raise the rent, we would move out, go somewhere else.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was just my family constantly fighting. My parents
stayed into it?
Yeah, just never got out of it, and that always rubbed off on us,
Oh, okay, okay. And where were you born at?
I was born in Mission Viejo Hospital.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's in Orange County.
Yeah. I'm familiar with it for sure. Oh, okay. What was life, man, growing up in Orange County for you?
Life was crazy because Orange County is this like rich area, and I've seen both sides of Orange County because we're on mostly like Section 8 type housing, like the state funded stuff.
Okay.
So we'll basically go wherever we're on a waiting list that gets opened up. So I've lived in Santa Ana, which is like a bad area, staying with my grandma at her house and my grandpa before he passed away. And then I've also lived in the wealthy areas, but my family and my income has never really changed. So when I was living in the poor areas, it was like, yeah, I'm like, doing like everybody else. But then when I went to the wealthy areas, it was kind of like, oh, you're the brokest person at the school. And I would get made fun of and bullied a lot.
Oh, so they bullied you?
Yeah, most definitely.
Oh, okay. Made fun of you?
Yeah, made fun of me, mostly just because my family was so big, and that's part of the reason we didn't have a lot of money. But also just, my mom didn't work, and my dad...
Oh, your mom didn't work?
No, my mom was a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
And then my dad just he does physical labor, but he tries his best, but obviously, like, it's expensive to live here.
Yes.
So.
Yes, it is expensive.
Yeah.
And so you say you was pretty much, man, you was bullied in school.
Most definitely, yeah. When I was, middle school was like the prime area for me being bullied.
That's where it started?
Yeah, that's
in
where
middle school?
Yeah, because in elementary school, we were young. We all kind of just, if we thought each other were funny, we would hang out with them.
Yes.
But I started getting excluded from fan groups and, like, talked shit on because of my financial situation and stuff like that. So
like your clothes was dirty? Or?
Yeah, dirty because we didn't always have a washer and dryer depending on where we're living, but also just like it wasn't like what everyone else was wearing, It was kind of like what we could afford.
Yeah? Like from where?
Walmart mostly, just like the athletic shorts and some knockoff Vans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would get made fun of for that kind of stuff,
What about when you in high school? Was you bullied in high school?
In high school, I feel like it was more fighting. I wouldn't, because there were a few cases where I guess I kind of like started the problem. So it was like a good amount of me taking shit from people and then me getting fed up with shit from people. And then sometimes I would be the bully and sometimes I would get bullied. But
okay. You got roughed up?
Yeah, a couple times. Actually, I'm dropping a YouTube video today of a fight that I got into in high school that someone filmed. So you guys can check that out. But yeah, there was a good amount of fights that would get me in trouble and drugs for sure too.
Oh, okay. You pretty much dipped into drugs?
Yeah, drugs were they're still a pretty big part of my life,
So you do drugs now?
Yeah, I do kratom and nicotine, and then I drink occasionally, which
well,
I consider
I'm talking
any
about drugs like perks or anything like that.
Not in a while. Beginning of summer.
So you used to?
I did, yeah, heavily though.
Yeah.
So I feel like the
you
damage
addicted?
is still there. Yeah. I was addicted to opioids, like all types.
Yes.
I would do whatever I could get my hands on, basically, that wasn't fentanyl,
Yeah.
Anything safe, prescription, I would do it.
Oh, okay. When did you start doing that, though?
I raided my mom's cabinet, which is when I did my first drug. This was before I had even smoked weed.
Did she know?
She didn't know about it until like months after I was already going through the whole supply.
Okay.
But I was 13 or 14.
So you were just taking all of her stuff?
Yeah, she didn't need it because she had gotten through the surgery on just her small amount, and then she just had the leftovers sitting in the cabinet, and I just would take them.
And you got addicted?
Yeah, I got to the point I didn't even know I was addicted. I would be throwing up in the morning before school, and I would be like, why am I feeling like this? Like my sleep schedule's messed up.
Yes.
And then I didn't even realize until a year later when I started smoking weed, oh, that was addiction. So I basically just had to cold turkey it and, deal through all the cold sweats and the sleepless nights and all that. Yeah.
Oh, did you relapse?
Oh, many times.
Many times? Okay.
Because there's actually this one time when I was I want to say this wasn't too long ago, about a year ago.
Okay.
I was in a relationship with this girl, and she basically said that she wouldn't be with me anymore, even though she was with me when I was doing drugs. It came to a point where she's like, "All right, I'm not going to be with you anymore because you're doing drugs. I feel like you're not there mentally, you know."
Yeah.
So I relapsed after we broke things off, you know, but I was sober for a good amount of time while I was with her. And then, yeah, when I broke up with her, then I relapsed. Went back to the lean and Percocet and Hydro and all that shit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I know sometimes people say, man, you portray a role like, I mean, you're a street dude, which I know you're not a street dude.
Nah.
You ain't built like that.
Yeah, and I feel like that's where I feel like I've gone wrong in a part, but also the people have kind of gotten it twisted because I feel like they think that a P is automatically this like gang member or something like that. And I want to get it clear that I don't want to portray a thug. I just want to be somebody that can, get money and help my family out.
But do you ever try to portray that role? You have tried to portray that role?
I have in the past for sure.
But why? When that's not you, why portray to be something that you're not? Because it's going to bring the wrong attention.
Yeah, and it did, most definitely. Because,
it did?
Yeah, this was still in my high school days.
Okay.
I was in an area with like a good amount of gang members.
Okay.
And since I was doing drugs, we were kind of tied in. Like they would either, get stuff from me, I would get stuff from them here and there. Okay. And then also just mutual friends.
So you started kind of like claiming a set a little bit and hanging out?
Never claiming a set.
I mean, guilty by association.
Yeah, guilty by association for sure, because they were trying to get me to be put on for the set because I was making money at that time.
Okay.
And I wanted to be friends with them, but I didn't want that full life, of having to deal with all the consequences and stuff. So I kind of just tried to stay as far away from that as possible. But then there were times when I would get dragged into something because of, money, or I would get dragged into something because of like a beef. And then it would kind of like
when you say beef, like what kind of beef? You owe somebody or somebody owe you?
Both. I mean, it was usually tied to money, but also just like, somebody disrespects me, I disrespect them. They talk shit on one of my friends, and then it just kind of like, goes into
that was in high school?
That was mostly in high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And outside of school too, because I got expelled when I was first day of junior year. I got expelled. So my high school years when I should be in high school, but I wasn't in school.
Okay.
It was all kind of in that time. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So they pretty much tried to like force you to be a part of it.
Yeah, and I don't even want to say they forced me, but they, they did everything in their power to make sure that, to try.
Okay. But I'm sure it's been times where you have portrayed that role, right?
Yeah, most definitely. When I was in that time,
what made you portray that role, like to be this street dude, and if the shit hit the fan, then it's like,
yeah,
you're not gonna be ready for the consequences of what it's gonna bring. So
I think it was really just like the people around me. They kind of expected me to be something. They influenced me, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, you guys are around me. You guys are basically like my friends or whatever. We're doing the same things, so
yeah,
I want to do the things you guys are doing, but I don't want to, be a part of everything you guys are doing.
Okay.
But they still tried to get me to, do all that stuff.
Okay.
But I did my best to keep away from it.
Yeah.
I never belonged to a gang or even considered joining a gang.
Okay. How was your relationship with your mom coming up?
Not great. I mean,
not
at all. Nah. And
no.
Even to this day, nah. I feel like it's only gotten worse in the past year. Yeah.
Why is that?
Her and my dad finally, after years and years of fighting and just abuse on both parts, they got divorced. And then my dad and my mom had like a big battle, with words and stuff like that mostly.
Okay.
But just over my siblings, over us, over how to raise us. And me being the oldest, I always felt like I had to watch out for my siblings.
So you're the oldest?
Yeah, I'm the oldest of five. So
okay.
I got 2 brothers and 2 sisters, all younger than me.
Okay.
Yeah. But it wasn't easy, because my mom, she's a narcissist. So her and me, like, I always wanted to hang out with her and like get along with her.
Yes.
But I didn't just want to bullshit with her. I wanted to be real with her.
Yes.
I wanted to have like genuine conversation about what both of us are doing wrong, where both of us have gone wrong in life. But she was always just trying to put it as like, no, you, the kids, me, well, you guys are all doing wrong.
She always blamed you and never
accepted. She blamed everyone and never accepted her own, her own problems, her own issues.
Do you reach out to her?
I try to, we just text, but I haven't seen her since the last No Jumper interview. Actually, I haven't actually like seen her in person.
Why is that? You think
she doesn't live with the family anymore? She's got her own apartment now, got her own job. She sees my little brother like a couple times a month. But as for the rest of the siblings, we all kind of just, we're on our own. We're not with her. My siblings live with the dad most of the time, and then the one brother, he hangs out with her, but she doesn't want anything to do with me. And as for like when I brought her to the last interview, I wanted that to be some time to maybe like hopefully 2 hours in the car, she would open
Yes.
up to me. I could open up to her.
Yes.
We'd go get lunch and everything, but that,
Yes.
that unfortunately didn't happen. She just kind of, I mean, she stuck to her ways is the best way I can put it, you know.
And you feel like y'all won't ever, you know, build a relationship? Do you feel like that?
I mean, I want to. Obviously, like, that's my mom. I still love her,
Yes.
regardless of all the shit she's done to me and that I've
Yes.
said to her and just all the problems. Like, I want a relationship with her, but
What
I
are
don't.
things she done to you?
Just always put me down from the day from the first time I can remember, just always putting me down for
Like what?
any little thing. Like if I was, I don't know, like spilling stuff on the carpet, not like being on the video game too long. My grade wasn't great in school. She would just, you know, you're a disappointment to the family. You're never going to be anything. Like, you know, just really, really making it harder for me to actually want to do well in school, making it harder for me to want to go get money, making it harder for me to like, you know, want to talk to her even. Because I felt like everything she said about me was negative. She never once said like, "Oh, I'm proud of you. Like you did this well."
She's never told you she's proud of you?
Nah, and I feel like that's the reason that my whole life I've kind of reached out to other girls.
Okay.
And especially in the game, like
Yes.
looking for like a replacement for her. You know,
Because she wasn't being a mother to
wasn't a
you?
mom for me. No,
No?
not a real mom.
No?
No, I mean she would clean the house and stuff like that.
Yes.
Her and my dad would like alternate, you know, making the food and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yes.
But she was never really, she wasn't like a mom. Like emotionally, she wasn't a mom.
No.
You know, she was in the house,
Yes.
but she didn't really show me anything of like, this is what you should be as a mom. So that's why I'm holding off on having kids or even thinking about that, because I know that a lot of her things are in me and I don't ever want to, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to get to that point of being like that as a mom or a dad. I don't want to be like that to my kids.
No? It was that bad?
Yeah, it was painful.
So
And
she
it still
never
is.
believed in you?
Never once, and she just put me down, you know, like, and this is even before I was doing anything bad or
Yes.
like illegal or whatever. She would just, you know, put me down for any little thing I did since I was a kid.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like she picked on you.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm her first son, so
Yes,
I don't really
firstborn.
understand it. Yeah, first son, firstborn that she ever had, like the first kid.
Yes.
So for you to like see your own creation and, you know what I'm saying, not treat them right and go out of your way, it seems
Yes.
like, to make them feel like shit, like I don't get that.
No.
I don't get that at all.
Do you still reach out to her?
I tried. I texted her this morning,
Yes.
but it was just, you know, a few words back and forth. It wasn't anything. It wasn't anything
A
genuine.
short conversation?
Yeah. if
Do you
even
tell her
wanna
you
call it
want
a
to see her?
conversation. I try and talk to her like, yeah, let's go get lunch on this day. We'll plan out a day, and then it'll fall through, you know.
So it's like you got to make an appointment.
Yeah, that's what it is. And then even when I make the appointment, it gets canceled, you know.
Have you been to where she lived, her home?
No, I've never been to her apartment now.
No?
She's in Orange County still. But like I said, it's a 1-bedroom. She's only staying with my little brother on like a few times a month, but I've never visited her there or anything like that.
What about you and your father relationship?
My dad, he's a really good dude. Like he was abusive when I was younger, and he still is
Yeah, he was
verbally
abusive?
I guess, but
Okay.
he was physically
So
abusive
he
when I
used,
was younger.
yeah, like when you get into stuff, he would.
Yeah, like since I was little, any little thing. He has a really short temper, so if I did anything to get on his nerves, it was, you know, he dislocated my shoulder one time, but it was usually
Yeah?
a smack or a punch or a, you know,
It
if you got real
dislocated
mad.
your shoulder?
Yeah, I was like up against a glass closet door one time, and I was
Yes.
out riding a skateboard with my homie, and he broke his his arm on a skateboard when he was younger. She's like, "I told you not to do that shit, goddamn it!" And just got into it, and I was trying to like block the fists, you know, and then he got my shoulder dislocated. I had to go to the doctor for that, and I told him I fell on a skateboard because he's a good dude. Like I didn't want him getting
you
taken
didn't
away and
want
shit
to
like
get in
that.
trouble.
Nah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that shit fucks with me too. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel like it brings depression on?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to say that I have depression, but looking
you
at my
do.
day-to-day life, yeah, I feel like I do.
Yeah, you do. And then I'm sure too as well, like a lot of content, man, that's been on social media about you.
Yeah, that's more recent.
Yeah.
most definitely.
Well, definitely. You know, I know them are embarrassing moments. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and I'm sure that bothers you.
Yeah, that doesn't
It
help.
definitely don't make you feel good.
Nah, that doesn't help me at all. I
You
mean,
know?
I take the fact that people are finally, because my mom never gave me attention. So when I
No?
see so when I see all
So-
these girls giving me attention, regardless of, what happened or something like that, and they're trying to, help me out to make money to help out them and my family and their families, it makes me feel good.
Okay.
But as far as like all the other negative stuff, that can't help anybody feel better,
No, definitely. I mean, but what's next for you is you got to figure out a way to stop putting yourself in these predicaments.
Yeah.
Because you are what you create.
Yeah.
You know,
Most definitely.
if you create bad, then bad things are gonna happen.
Yeah, you get out what you put out.
Yeah.
into
What
the
you put out
universe,
is what you get back. Yeah, definitely. So what are you gonna do to change that? I mean, what's next for you? What are you trying to do right now in life to make things better for yourself?
I'm really just trying to go into the legal route of getting money as much as I can. OnlyFans, porn, all that kind of stuff. Just, stuff that I still enjoy doing, stuff that I'm still allowed to hang out with a bunch of girls and stuff like that, even though I know that's probably not healthy trying to replace a mom figure, but that's what I'm doing.
How can that replace your mom?
I don't think that it can. I think
But
subconsciously,
for you
though,
to say that, like,
Yeah.
what make you feel that? Like, oh, well, I'm gonna get these 3 girls and hang with them, and
Yeah.
then I'm gonna forget about my mom. Like,
I think it's
how
just
does
like-
that work?
like I look out for them, they look out for me type thing. Like the thing I wish I
But
had
they
with my
can't be a
mom.
mother.
Definitely not like a traditional mother,
Yeah.
but just like, I guess a female figure that's there for me,
Okay.
Yeah.
So pretty much, females in your life has been more of a mother figure than your own mom, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
To a certain extent?
To a certain extent. To a slight extent.
It can't
yeah.
be that bad, man. I'm sure that there's been good times with you and your mom.
There have been good times with me and my mom.
What would you say is good times?
I'd say like when I was younger, we would
Okay.
just be watching a show together or whatever at
Okay.
night on the TV, just whatever was on, like a show on cable or something.
So y'all did have bonding times.
We had a few nights when
just
say
a
my
few,
dad-
or
Yeah, not many. I mean, if my dad had like
so
gone
you
off
could
on me
count
that
them.
day,
If you could
it's
count
around,
them,
it's
then
around
yeah.
15, 20. So
And how
something
old are
like
you?
that. I'm 19 years old. I'm 19, 20.
Okay. And how old were you during this time?
This
That
was
you
before,
say you were spending time with your mom?
This
like
was
what?
before middle school.
Okay. So you're
middle
like
school is
6,
when-
7 years old,
Yeah, probably around
Probably
there. Yeah,
around
maybe,
there?
maybe up to 10.
up to 10?
Yeah.
Okay. And then was good memories?
Yeah, they were the best memories I have with her, A few vacations when we would go to Vegas for the weekend with the family.
Okay.
There would be, a bunch of bad memories on that trip, especially when she would get drunk or whatever and just, start doing the same thing to us, but 10 times worse.
Like
But,
what?
Like just putting us down, me and all my siblings, like, you're a disappointment, you're never gonna be shit, like just putting us down, It would get worse when she would go drink. But
Did she drink a lot?
she doesn't drink a lot, but when she
But
does
when she
drink,
drinks,
it's
she drink.
bad. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
And it was embarrassing to be out while she was drunk like that and just ragging on us loud in public, especially in like a big city. But the other parts of those trips when she wasn't drunk, when we were out at lunch or something, those are pretty good memories.
Those good memories.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even if we weren't talking, just being with her and seeing like this is how a family should function, ideally, that was good for me. I liked
Okay.
that, yeah.
Okay. That's cool. That's definitely cool, man. And you say you and Pops, y'all, that's your guy. Y'all cool.
Yeah,
Y'all
I mean,
good.
regardless of any of the shit we've done to each other or said to each other, like he's like my ideal.
Well, y'all ain't
male
never gotten
figure.
to no fight or anything, right?
Oh, we've gotten into fights
Yeah?
for sure. Yeah,
Yeah?
It was more so like him punching on me just trying to block it. But
Okay.
we've gotten into a shit ton of physical altercations.
Okay.
But regardless of all that shit, that all to the side, he's like my role model as a male.
That's what's up.
Yeah, putting on for his family, regardless of how the women in his life treat him or the kids or any of that. He always,
so people
hustles
treat
to
him
make
bad?
ends meet. Yeah, he gets treated like shit by people at work, by my other family members and shit, especially
Okay.
my mom.
Yeah?
She cheated on him and fuck, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah?
That shit all just gets to me though,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah? She cheated on him?
Yeah, that's why they finally got divorced after like,
Okay.
years and years of fighting.
Okay.
It was just, that was like the last straw. type
That was
shit.
it?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's when like it all went downhill for my family.
Okay.
Like before that, I feel like it was just me and my older sister because the other kids are way different ages than me. They're all
Yes.
way younger. So when they weren't around, like me and my sister were strong. We had a different style of parenting as far as my dad goes because he kind of lessened up on the little kids and doesn't hit them or nothing. But he learned from his lessons. But me and my sister, we kind of just had to be tough. we had to deal with that shit.
So y'all had to do y'all pretty much was adults in the house.
Yeah, unfortunately.
For the
at a young
siblings.
age, yeah.
At a young age. Wow. I mean, well, somebody had to step up to the plate.
That's how I see it. It's like, no one's ever going to give you a handout in life. You have to get everything you want on your own. And my dad always gave me that vision. He was always like, no one's going to hand you. You have to grind for everything you want. You have to be, because you're a man, you got to be the male figure. You got to put on for your family and shit like that. And for those that look out for you, you got to look out for them. So that was helpful,
Yes.
But it also wasn't easy because he would turn around and, over little stuff, his short temper would kick in and I would get beat, and then
Yeah.
so it was like a mixed view for him, I seen him in a good light, but then I also seen him in like a really negative light. Like, I don't want to be like this to my kids. I don't want to beat them, but I want to like instill, that they're good. They're kids, they're your kids.
Yeah, they're your
so
kids.
I want them to be successful, and he always did that much. So I really respect
So
that.
he did always want y'all to be successful.
Most definitely. My
He
dad
just had a tough way of showing it.
Yeah, exactly. Real tough way of showing it, but I love him. He's a real one.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Do you feel like your moms broke up the family?
Yeah, my whole family feels that way, but I don't like to blame people because obviously, like, we're all individuals. We can't all mesh at all times.
Yes.
But I feel like her not putting in the work, not trying to be there for us,
Yes.
that hurts. That makes me feel like, yeah, she did break up the family. And it's just really evident now because I'm seeing my siblings go through the same shit, but like in separate households that I'm going through.
Yeah.
And also not having that relationship with my mom, it's not good for them. So I try and step up and, be there for them and shit like that.
Okay.
But like I said, I got my own life. I got
Yes.
other stuff to worry about. I got to worry about financially helping my family, so I can't always emotionally help them.
Yes.
But I want to do both as best I can,
You have to.
Yeah, you do.
Because you say you see them going through what you went through, so you have to, it's called break the cycle.
Exactly.
You have to find a way to break the cycle,
Yeah. And I try and, I try and tell them, like, learn from the bad shit I did. Learn from all the stupid shit I did. All the trouble I got into, all the fights I've gotten into. Learn from that shit.
Are they getting in trouble?
Yeah, they are.
They are?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
It's more because they're younger. They're, like, way younger.
Okay.
My brother's 8.
Okay,
So,
very young.
Yeah, but, my younger sister, she's 11 or 12. She's ditching school. She's, doing stuff like
Yeah?
that. Yeah, she's already hanging out with the wrong crowd. She's kind of becoming a bully, I feel like. And I hate seeing that, But
Why you don't talk to her, sit her down and
every
talk
single
to her?
day. Yeah, she's honestly like, I don't like to say I have a favorite sibling, but because she's in that situation right now, I'm seeing myself in her. She's like my favorite sibling right now. I talk to her every single day. I text her, like Snapchat her whenever I can,
Yes, but you got to be a good example.
Yeah.
You
gotta lead by example, and
you got to lead by
I've
example,
that's where
and
I've gone wrong in a lot of ways.
you got a lot of shit going on that's against you to where it don't give you that good example. So do you feel like, do they know what? I know they're young,
Yeah.
but social media is everybody watches it.
Yeah.
Do they see some of the things that's online about you?
I try and really keep them away from that side of social media as much as possible.
Okay.
My sister's actually, even though she's ditching school and stuff like that,
Wow.
she's really into, math. That's like her thing.
But you're not trying to stop her from ditching school?
I mean,
Come on, it
I
got to be
tell
something
her,
you
I
can
tell
do.
her, like, I did that when I was your age. Like, this is what it's going to lead to. And I try and encourage her, like,
Why you don't
colleges.
don't make sure she's in school? Why you don't take her to school? Or why you don't check on her and make sure she's in school? Because 11 years old, she's young.
Yeah, she is.
And ditching school, that's like very young.
Yeah. I try and, I do take her to school occasionally.
Okay.
I don't have my license right now, so my dad doesn't really like when I drive her to school.
Okay.
But my main thing is, like, when my dad's at work, I go over to his apartment and I babysit the kids. Because that way he's not in a financial position to afford a babysitter. My sister's working right now. So I try and go over there, spend time with them, play with my dog and them, and just, teach them. Like, I talk to them about college as much as I can. I try and, like, encourage them to read books that I enjoyed reading when I was growing up. And I try and put them on the right path. But I feel like my sister, even though she's 11, the people she hangs out with, because she's at a developmental time, those are the biggest influence on her. No matter how much I try and step in, and I do, they're still gonna, have that ultimate influence over.
Do you
her
feel
over
like they don't
themselves.
respect you enough to actually listen to what you're telling them to do?
I think it's same situation as that I was in when I was a kid, like with my
Okay.
mom, is that I think they don't respect me enough to say.
So you was disrespectful to your mom.
Well, other way around, but I feel like I didn't respect
She
her
was
enough.
she was disrespectful to you.
Yeah, in terms of always putting me down and just telling me I wasn't shit and not really wanting to be there for me emotionally. I consider that disrespectful. But I always just tried to, what I'm saying, not look at all the bad stuff, just look at the good stuff. But when there's not a lot of good stuff to look at, I feel like that's how my siblings feel about me. Like they look at all the stuff I do, but they mostly look at the bad stuff because that's the stuff that's like right in their face, like
Yeah.
getting raided when the family's home and seeing me put in cuffs and taken off and stuff like that. That's what they see when they see me, I feel like.
Okay.
And I mean, they know I'm smart. I know they're smart. And that's why, as much as I can, I like to talk to them about academics and how they're doing in school and, what their friend groups are like and stuff like that. But I know when I was that age, I was kind of like closed like a book. Like I didn't really want to spill the beans for nobody. I wanted to keep all that to myself. So I can't really blame them for not wanting to tell me everything,
Yeah, yeah. So you feel like, yeah, I get that. You definitely can't blame them for sure. But when you look at them, you say you see yourself in them, how you
In
were.
certain ways, yeah. I
So
do.
you feel like they learned from you a lot of their ways they got from you.
Yeah, I mean, I like to take responsibility for that. My
Yeah.
dad always says it's not your fault, it's your mom's fault, it's my fault. We didn't lead by example enough to have you kids be any differently.
Okay.
But I do definitely take a lot of that responsibility and put it on my own shoulders, of they're like this because of me, because I'm their older brother, even though I'm not their parent. Like,
And
that definitely impacts them.
okay, it's definitely you got an impact on them.
Yeah.
Would you say it's a negative or a positive impact on them?
I'd say it's both. Depends on what day, honestly. I can't even say that I'm a fully bad influence on them, but I try and be the best influence I can be. But like I said, like there's some examples, like in terms of me being good at the classes I was good at and having good grades, my siblings are like that. The classes they like and they enjoy, they do really well in.
Okay.
But in terms of, not wanting to be around my family and not wanting to, be around the other siblings and fighting amongst each other, they definitely do that like we did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you got going in life right now that you could say that's life changing for you, like in a good way?
In a good way, I'd say like a really positive, life changing, if you want to call it, thing would be the opportunity to actually freely spend time with my siblings without my mom being there to, negatively impact them.
So you really just like when it comes to your mom, because you've mentioned her a few times. When it comes to her, it's just like you got something built up inside of you.
Yeah, I do. I got.
What it's going to take to, to release it, to let it go.
I think it's really just going to take a deep conversation between the two of us,
And what do you want to tell her?
I want to tell her I love her, but I also want her to, I want to admit that I've done a lot of bad shit in life. I want to tell her every single bad thing I've ever done, why it's bad, how it hurt me, how it hurt the people around me, how it could have hurt the people around me. And I just want her to try and do the same. I want her to admit that she, cheated on my dad and that she's not there for my siblings, that she was not there for us growing up emotionally. I just want her to be truthful with herself and truthful with me, truthful with my dad, truthful with everyone. But she doesn't even want to hang out, let alone let it out. So
Yes. Yes. Do you feel like the way she treated you made you bad? Do you feel like that kind of shifted you in that direction, like how you were treated? Is that what led you to taking pills?
Yeah, it was mostly like the home life,
It was the home life.
It was a mix of the home life and the bullying at school, but mostly the home life because I'm with my family most of the time. So
Yes.
when I'm with them, that's who I feel like I am. And if I feel like they don't respect me, they're not happy with me, quite the opposite, they're trying to put me down, I'm going to feel like shit.
Did your father ever put you down?
Yeah, he did too.
Yeah.
But my dad's problem was he would go along with everything my mom said because he was scared of, losing her. Like every time they would have a fight, she would walk out of the house and be gone. And then he would just always try and get her back. And he would do so many bad things that were basically just to prove that he's like her to us, that I can't always look at him in a good light, Like that shit hurts.
Wow.
Just seeing that she had so much control over him and us that she was able to change the way he is as a person, change the way he treats his own family, his own kids.
Okay.
So yeah.
You feel like that was torture?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the best word for it, but it definitely fucked me up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mentally.
Mentally. Yeah, mentally. I mean, I don't even want to say it's like just anxiety and depression, but
Okay.
there's been times when, you know, I've self-harmed. I've, you know, wanted to get out of the world. I wanted to.
You've harmed yourself?
Yeah, I just wanted to disappear type shit, you know?
What did you do?
Just like cuts on my arms and shit like
Okay.
that. With like a big kitchen knife.
Okay.
It led to fights between me and my sister. She stabbed me one time.
Yeah?
Got sent off to jail. And it's all because of drugs, and the drugs are all because of our home life.
Okay.
You know? Yeah.
It was really that bad.
It wasn't, I mean, I'm not going to say, like I said, I always like to know and think that there's somebody out there that has it worse than me. So I never want to say like, oh, I had the worst childhood.
Okay.
I like to look at the positives, look at the bright side of every single thing.
Yes.
Even if that's, you know, my mom's talking shit on me and
Yes.
saying I'm not going to be shit and I'm going to, you know, whatever she's saying.
Did you
about
believe
me.
it when she said it?
When I was younger, yeah.
You really start taking it to heart
Yeah.
and started believing
that's why
it?
I self-harmed a couple of times because I was like, well, if she doesn't think that I can be anything, like,
Yes.
what's the point, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I took that to heart for
Do
sure.
you still think of self-harming at times?
Not
No?
anymore. Now I'm like, I got a reason to live, you know?
Okay.
I got my family back in
Okay.
a way because my mom's like not under their influence all the time. So
Okay.
me and my dad, we kind of feel like we can, you know, really step up to plate now without her influence of putting the kids down and telling them to do what they want and encouraging the disrespect. We can really like teach them to be upstanding members of society. So
Okay.
I feel like I have something real to live for now.
I can see you got a lot of aggravation built up inside of you, though. Like a lot.
Aggravation and
Pain.
pain. Yeah, that's the best way
Pain.
to describe it. Just pain because this is shit that when I go to the therapist, like,
Yes.
as I have in the past,
Yes.
I'll talk about it, but my mom would send me to therapy for drugs, you know, because and at the time
Just
it was
to get the
weed.
drugs. So she
Yeah,
would
just-
use you to send you to therapy so she could get the drugs.
and I would be too scared to talk about, you know, what was really going on. And when I did try and go,
Did she tell you better not talk about it? Like when you go
she-
see the therapist, did she tell you to?
she basically
Did she kind of tell you
implied
what to
that.
say to the
She
therapist?
told me like you need to talk about this and this. And, you know, I would say like, well, what about this? This is really bothering me. She's like, you're being dramatic. That's not how it is. You're a liar. Like, I'm a great mother. Like any kid would be lucky to have a mother like you. And I guess I was told to say in a way. It's been years since I gone to therapy, or
Yes.
at least a year. But
Yes.
yeah, that shit it didn't help me because I wasn't really covering the issues that were at hand.
Yeah, you was going there for not for your purpose, but for her purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I could tell, man. I could look at you and tell, loved one. It's a lot built up inside of you, loved one.
I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying, fight back the tears so we can still talk.
No,
but
it's cool. Let them go. Don't fight them.
I got you.
Don't fight them, loved one. Let them go. Because that releases the pressure.
Does it?
Yes, it releases the pressure because the more you let it stay built up inside of you, the angrier you're gonna stay. You're gonna remain, you know, that way. And definitely if she tortured you the way she did verbally,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, to make you want to harm yourself, man. You was in a bad situation. You
Yeah.
definitely was in a bad situation, for sure.
I was.
You really was.
And you know what? I don't know, the self-harming and stuff like that, that was another thing that my sister was big on that. I was big on that for a while. But my mom would
So
look
you
at
did
that as,
you kept doing it?
yeah, I did it. I don't want to say I was as bad, you know, as doing it every day.
Okay.
But whenever we had any type of like encounter,
Okay.
it was almost always negative, and then I would lead to that after that.
So how often you think that was? You would say, if you was to put a number on it.
If I were to put a number on the amount of times that I've thought about doing it or actually done it,
Well, actually harming yourself.
probably like 10.
Damn.
But in terms of times that I've thought about it, that crossed my mind pretty much every day. You know, and it was something I would dwell on. I would go and I would want to be with other people, but then I would be in so much pain that I couldn't be around them because then they would just start, you know, pushing me away and like not wanting me to be with them because I was changing their mood or whatever. And this is just my family specifically. So I would want to go be alone, but then that would make it, you know, even worse. and I
Did
would
you
have
ever
nothing else.
express to them how you felt?
I told my dad, yeah.
Yeah, you
I
told him that What did they say when they seen you harmed yourself?
My mom actually, she just, I'm gonna take you to the hospital or something like that. I'm gonna drop you off there as long as they need to keep you. I don't want to deal with you.
Off?
Yeah, like at a mental hospital type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna just drop you off there and you can deal with them and stuff like that. She would always threaten, like, whenever there was any type of problem, or we would, like, get fed up with what she was doing, and we would say, "Mom, just stop," and we would, like, run away or something. She would always
Oh, so you used to run away?
Oh, yeah.
A lot?
And sometimes I would take my little siblings with me, mostly my sister, because she was getting the same treatment as me, if not worse. But we would just run away. We would, what I'm saying, just try and be alone, go on a walk, and she would call the cops and have them bring us back home. We would go to a friend's house, and the cops would show up there, and she was getting other people's families involved in it. And so, yeah, I wanted to be away from her. But at the same time, like, deep down, I want to be with her. It's
confusing to you,
really
huh?
Confusing, yeah. Because it's like sometimes I want to be with her,
Yes.
sometimes I don't. But then every time I think about it, I do. But I don't want to be with her the way she is. I'll be with her if she can, try and talk to me. But talk to me for real, not talk about what I had for lunch or why I'm not doing this or why I'm not doing that.
You want to talk about
I want to talk about real life, emotions, not just life, but emotions.
You want to talk to her about asking. Do you want to talk to her about how she mistreated you?
Yeah, I want to talk about how she's mistreated me, and also I want to talk about what led her to become the way she is, because my dad tells me things from her childhood that I know made her the way she is, but she, bottled it up so much to the point where she can't even admit that there's anything there. She blocks out the trauma from her childhood.
Okay.
I just want to talk to her about that, and then I can
And you
talk
think
about
that's why she lashed out
I like to
at
think
her
so,
siblings?
Yeah. I like to
lashed
hope
out
that
at y'all because of her own personal trauma.
Yeah, I like to think that there's a reason behind it, and it's not just cruelty, because I don't believe that anyone's, like, cruel just the way they're born. I feel like that it's learned behavior, or it's something that they're forced into doing because of their, their circumstances or whatever. So I like to think there's a reason for it, but I only hear it from my dad, what actually went on in her childhood. I'll never hear it from her until one day, hopefully, she, agrees to talk to me. And I could do the same with her.
When you reached out to her today, did she responded pretty fast?
She actually reached out to me. She was like, "Do you got your license yet?" Though it wasn't like anything crazy. I was like, I was just, getting ready basically. Got a haircut, and then I was getting dressed, and I see my phone go off, and she's like, "You got your license yet?" And I just said, "No, not yet. I'm waiting on, some things with my family and stuff like that before I can go take the test." And because right now my dad's got to use my car for work.
Okay.
So I don't really have
cool.
like a time when I can go take the test, And then before that, I was blackballed from getting the license because of prior suspensions and stuff like that. But I'm trying to do that.
Well, I wouldn't call it blackball. It was suspensions.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what word to use.
That ain't blackball.
Yeah. Basically, I wasn't allowed to get my license.
You were stopping yourself.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, it was all because of me, because of my choices. That's what was preventing me. But now that I'm able to, like, legally, I can't do it yet because of what's going on. But my mom just kind of like threw it in my face when I said, "No, not yet. I'm waiting on this and this." She just, kind of just laughed at me basically, and so that hurt too.
One day, man, hopefully y'all can, sit down and get an understanding with each other.
I'm really hoping that. That's the number one thing I want in life, is to get a solid relationship going.
You want closure from the situation.
Yeah, closure and to open new beginnings,
Yes.
I want to be able to have like a more traditional, like, loving relationship with her. And I want her and my dad to even get on better terms, because right now they're at each other's throats and they don't even live together. So I just want my whole family to get along a little bit better, you know? But definitely just me and my mom getting along. That's like the main bond that I feel like is broken.
Okay. Yeah. Hopefully it works out for you,
Yeah.
Hoping it works out for you.
Yeah. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
If that's what you want, then, at least keep trying.
I'm never going to give up on that one, It's like for example, my sister who was on drugs for a long time, I never gave up.
How old is she?
She's 18.
And did she learn? Did she learn from you, watching you?
She was actually drinking alcohol like my dad, because my dad is a little bit of an alcoholic. He drinks every day.
Okay.
So she actually did that because of him. She seen him doing it, so she started doing it to deal with the same kind of things, but at a younger age than me. And then I got into smoking weed after I did the pills and all that, and then I got her into smoking weed, but she was already drinking. I just wanted her off, getting drunk at school and throwing up every day. I just wanted a
She
better
used to be at
release.
school throwing up.
Yeah, when she was in middle school, she would go fill up the vodka, the thermos with vodka, and just drink it in class, trying to deal with the pain and shit. And I hated seeing that, even though I wasn't seeing it in person.
Yes.
And she would tell me about that when I had to find out I'm out, and that shit hurt.
So y'all really grew up, man. Like
That's
mayhem.
my number one homie right there is my sister.
That's it. That's your road dog. Y'all understand each other.
We've been through more shit together than most people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Y'all held each other down.
yeah, and as a matter of fact, she's, especially after the divorce, she's really distant from me now. Like, me and her used to be like this.
Oh, y'all not cool no more?
I mean,
Not like y'all used to be?
Not even close to how we used to be. Now it's like
Why is that?
the same kind of bickering and stuff like that, and just fighting and physical and emotional words being thrown at each other, and actual. She hits me, like I said, she stabbed me before, and I don't want to blame her. I feel like her relationship with my mother is even worse than my relationship with my mother, and I can't even imagine that. So we're definitely not cool like we used to be, though.
Wow. Do y'all still talk?
We do still talk, yeah. I see her pretty much every day, but it's mostly just about like, oh, this happened at work today, this happened at my job today, stuff like that,
Okay, so
It's
she's
never
working.
Yeah, it's never
Okay.
really any like emotional contact, though. I try and ask her about, because I know she was struggling with harder drugs too, like me for a while. I try and talk to her about that. I try and like get to the root of it. I want to be each other's therapists in a way, just because that's how we used to be. We used
Yeah.
to be cool like that, but
Yes.
as of right now, it's not really working out.
So you was pretty much trying to ask her if she was still doing drugs?
I was trying to see if that's something that's maybe a cause for the reason she's acting the way she is. And I try and be as open as I can about my addictions with her. But
What did she ever tell you?
she's told me before, but she hasn't told me in months if she was, that I could genuinely believe it. If I ask now, it's just like a simple no, or why the fuck would you accuse me of that? Shit like that. It's not really like a...
Or she put her guards up, like, yeah, why are you blaming me for... Okay.
And I don't want her to put her guards up, I want her to feel comfortable talking to me, because the shit we say off camera, me and her, obviously none of it's on camera. It's all between us. Like, she doesn't spread my gossip, I don't spread hers. We never did before. Like, we can trust each other now, but I think it's really just my mom moving out and her always wanting to be close to my mom, but always being rejected from my mom. That's hurting her even more now. And she almost feels like she has to compete with me for like the replacement spot for my mom in terms of like looking over my family and shit. But I try and explain, like, we don't need to be doing that. We need to look out for our siblings as a sibling. We don't need to try and, be our replacement
competition
for our
with
mother.
each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely not competition.
You could never be a replacement
Nah, ever.
for your mom, ever.
That's why I want to get my relationship with her, finally, for the first time ever started, like in a good way, not just like a toxic relationship,
Yeah. Why you don't go to where she live?
Honestly, I don't even know where she lives. She's like I said, after she split up from my dad, she's got an apartment somewhere for a little while. Last time I saw her, she was living in like it's not a homeless shelter, but like a shared apartment with another family. And then she got her own now, but I don't even know where it's at. I don't know. I don't know what she's doing for a job. It's what I've heard from my little brother. You're like, yeah, mom's got a job. She's finally working now, and she's got an apartment, but I don't know where it's at.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. You want to, because I know one day, I'm sure you plan on having kids one day.
I think so, yeah.
And I'm sure you would, like for them to have a relationship with your mom and your
My
dad.
grandmother, most definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, like I said, I'm not planning on having kids anytime real soon.
Yeah.
Just because I want to work through all my shit first. I don't want to have a kid until I'm in a financial spot to give them all the stuff I never had. I don't want them to just get by like my siblings did, just bare necessities type stuff. I want to give them above and extra,
Okay.
But so right now I'm not planning on having kids, but when I do, I want them to also obviously have a grandmother. I want them to have a relationship with both my parents. I want them to feel like they can be almost like a second home to them if needed.
Okay.
But I just don't feel like that could happen right now. Like, whatever my financial situation was, until I can get my relationship back with my own mother, I don't think I'm ready to have a relationship with a child, and then try and get them to have a relationship with their grandmother.
Okay. You got a lot of work to do.
Most definitely.
A lot of work to
Just
do.
trying, every single day as much as I can, try and get closer to my family, spend less time doing the other stuff I'm doing, more time with them. But like I said, we all got our own schedules. We all feel our own way about each other. So it's not always easy, but I'm not going to let that stop me,
Yeah. You're not supposed to.
No, definitely.
You're not supposed to. And then as far as like all the stuff, man, the negative stuff that go on around you, what are you gonna start doing to change that?
When you say negative, are you speaking mostly in terms of like social media and stuff? Like the negative?
Just like different things that have occurred, that have happened.
I really just kind of want to like, you know, obviously get legal money. That's like goes without saying type stuff. That's why I jumped on this whole train in the first place. Is just you know, to try and get a name for myself so that I can start making legal money off doing what I enjoy, which is making content. But really, in terms of like what I'm doing day to day, I'm just trying to make YouTube videos telling my stories from my life and trying to tell people like do it this way instead of how I did it, because what I did, it has all these consequences, and I try and list them out to try and scare people away from doing what I'm doing.
Okay.
And not even scare them away, but motivate them to doing something better so they can go and, you know, rise above me.
Okay.
That's what I want to see.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially for my siblings.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh, okay. Okay. Keep doing that. For sure, you know, keep doing that.
Yeah.
That's definitely a good thing, man. So the content is coming out good. How is it going for you?
I'm loving it. Every time I get you know, just me in my living room on my phone. I just use my iPhone right now.
Okay.
And I get to tell a story from my past, and even though it's like bad to think about like how much pain I was in then, or you know, the trouble I got into, or what may have happened afterward, like it's good to know that hopefully, even if I'm changing one person's life and they're deciding to do it legally instead of the way I did it, or they're deciding to stay away from this type of, you know, environment or whatever,
Okay.
that'll make me feel happy. And I enjoy, you know, reminiscing on old memories and stuff, whether they're good or bad.
Okay.
I feel like that's exercising my brain to think about stuff from my past.
Okay. That's what you do?
Yeah, that's what I like to do. Is
Okay.
just tell stories, you know.
Okay. Not to bring it up, but you know, there was a incident that occurred.
Yeah.
You know.
The fight.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Whatever you call it, but
Yeah.
like.
Getting punched on.
Yeah. Okay. It hit the internet.
That was actually
And
at my choice.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, because definitely words are powerful.
Yeah. Well, most definitely.
You know what I mean? You got to think before you speak.
Yeah.
You know, but that definitely is, you know, an embarrassing moment that's been surfacing
Yeah, exactly.
on the internet. Like, how do you fight through that? You know, are people attacking you? Are you being attacked by people? Are people messaging you and saying crazy stuff to you?
Yeah, it's mostly just, you know, getting online threats and people threatening this and that. And, you know, it messes with me because it's like something that I don't need in my life.
Okay.
But at the same time, I know that I put myself in that position to do that.
So you got to learn to, you know, not put yourself in predicaments because things backfire.
And also just not really knowing the difference between, you know, real and fake sometimes can hurt you. And that's how I feel with all the internet hate is like a lot of these people, yes, they probably don't like me, but in real life, if they didn't see any of the stuff that happened behind the scenes, you know, that was happened to being on camera, they might like me as a person. So I like to think of it like that, as like, not all these people are assholes, even though they're acting like them. Everybody's got some good in them, you know?
Yeah. Well, everybody has some good in them.
Yeah.
You know, definitely. Everyone has some good in them.
And that's why I like to think about, like, with my mom and with my dad and with all my siblings, it's like they got a lot of good in them. It might take forever to get to it, but I'm never going to stop trying.
Yeah. So what are your plans, or what are you going to do to pretty much kind of keep things from like that happening to you?
In terms of like my mom or my dad?
No, not your mom and your dad.
okay.
Just, you know, physically, people doing physical things to you.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do? How are you going to stop putting yourself in that predicament? Like,
I just like to, you know, be myself and be careful, you know? I feel like being careful in life is like the number one way you can stay out of trouble.
sometimes you could be too careful.
You can be too careful.
And you can mess up being too careful.
That's true too.
You know?
Yeah.
So it depends on what side the coin lands on.
That's facts. And I mean, I feel like I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I feel like God's got a plan for us all. And if my plan is to, you know, end up in a bad situation or end up in a good situation, as much as I work in either direction, you know, what's going to happen is going to happen. But I definitely try and, you know, be as best person I can be.
Okay.
Or at least try to.
And when you said threats, so people was threatening you?
Yeah.
Threatening to harm you?
I don't even want to call it threats. It's just like people asking to fight me because of
What happened? Okay.
Yeah, because of
they
what
was
happened on
asking
camera.
to fight you.
Yeah, exactly.
So you get that a lot now.
Oh yeah, most definitely get that a lot.
Do
And
people, when you out in public, do people physically say stuff to you?
nah, I don't have
No,
that happen.
only on social
Yeah,
media.
it's just comments and DMs.
Okay.
But either way,
Are you
know, it still
prepared for
messes
that
with
though,
me.
just in case it ever happened
Oh,
and somebody
yeah.
approach you?
I know even the most respected, people out there that have a little bit of notoriety, there's going to be somebody that, wants to try them or wants to, get viral themselves and punch them or, say some shit to them and then hurt them. So I can't even say that didn't happen before the whole social media thing. In fact, before, when I was in my old lifestyle and presently in that lifestyle, I feel like it was almost worse because I was just staying local in my area and so many people knew me that might not have liked me for a different reason, not just what happened, on a video, that I felt a little bit more scared before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
They had you scared?
Yeah, no, most definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody says that they've never been scared in their life, there's always somebody bigger and badder than you.
I've never been scared in my life, not once.
Are you serious?
I'm Compton, born and raised.
You've never been scared of anything, though?
I'm a suicide survivor. I've never been scared, not ever in my life, not once.
I can't say that myself.
Not once.
Really?
You can't live in fear.
And I agree with that.
You can't
I
live
agree
in
with
fear,
that. Yeah.
That's why
facts.
that's why it's more about like not stop trying to be what you're not.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you can't live, a fake life over here.
Yeah.
Then over here, you want to live a family life.
Yeah.
You got to know the difference, because this right here could cost you your life.
That's true.
This right here is a part of your life.
Yeah.
So you got to know the difference,
Yeah.
You got to watch what you say. You got to watch how you move. And you also have to keep your head on the swivel to where you know when something is going to happen.
Yeah.
So you got to see it getting ready to happen.
Yeah.
But you're naive to that. That's why keep doing what you're doing with you creating your content.
Yeah.
And focus on that, and try to focus less on confrontations with different people.
That's facts. That's
going back
definitely
and forth on social media, with people, because when they approach you, then you might not even know they're getting ready to do something to you because you never grew up amongst that life. Yeah, you was in the streets, hanging with cats, but actually physically getting involved in things to where you can see it. Like we could be in a room or we could be somewhere.
Yeah.
I'll know who in that room got a burner on them.
Yeah. And that's
I know certain things. I've been around it so long. Like you have to really be more alert and not live in fear.
Yeah.
Not you can't live in fear. It's just not good.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I do live in fear. What would you say is like the best? I guess honestly, just like, what's your advice on trying to stop living in fear?
Quit putting yourself out there to put yourself in bad predicaments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely. Why do you feel like you live in fear? Give me an example of something that occurred that you were scared.
Pretty much every day I gotta drive somewhere. I know if I get pulled over, it could be over. So I just like to
not even with the law, with people in general.
Oh,
not even with the law. Like you can't live in fear.
Yeah. I get scared all the time of say I see a big group of people and I'm like by myself or something like that. If they were to come over and jump me or something like that, that shit scares me.
Yeah.
Because I know that it could end up bad. It could really, it could fuck you up. And I don't even just
so
mean
you
like,
panic. So if you pull up to a store and there's people out, do you get out and still go in the store, or you don't?
I try not to. I mean, obviously I can't.
So you'll just pull out and leave?
No. I would never like turn around and do what I do. I might wait for them to walk in the building if they're, if they're looking like they have a problem with me, like if they're eyeing my car and stuff like that. And because I can also recognize when somebody's like looking for trouble and stuff like that. If they're just out there like kind of eyeballing everybody that, is walking past them, everybody their age, then I'm going to be a little smart and maybe go another way around or something.
But why do you feel like you have to live like that? There got to be a reason. There's a reason that you're doing this. This is not, something that like genetic. This is nothing you're born with. This is something that transpired. This is something
Yeah,
that
most definitely
developed in you.
Yeah.
What do you think that was that developed, you living in fear? Like, that's not a way to live life.
No, I think I really, really started getting paranoid when I started using drugs.
Okay.
And even when I'm not on drugs, I think the chemicals in my brain have changed so
still
much
affect you.
that it, to this day, still.
Because you
really
kind of
fucks me
trembling,
up.
a little bit. And I know it ain't cold in here, but
Yeah, no.
yeah. So
I'm
still
honestly,
still affected, from the drugs.
Yeah, 100% I am. And you can be sober as long as you want, but when you're still, thinking about it constantly, craving it constantly.
So you still have cravings.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
And do you do drugs here and there?
No. I mean, not since the beginning of summer. That's the last time I touched an opioid.
Last summer.
The most recent summer. Yeah, beginning of the most recent summer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
But you still have cravings.
I still do have cravings. Yeah, pretty much every day. I'll wake up because I can't smoke weed anymore. It just gives me too much anxiety and paranoia. But I'll have cravings for drugs all the time. If I'm not,
And you haven't done nothing.
No, I mean kratom.
Be
Kratom
honest.
Be
Be honest.
Kratom is
Because
something
you're only
that
lying to yourself.
Yeah, kratom is something that I'm addicted to.
Okay.
And that's definitely like an addictive substance with withdrawals and stuff like that. And it feels pretty similar to the codeine and the hydrocodone and oxy that I was doing.
Okay.
But so if I go a certain amount of time without a cup of that, then I start to get those feelings of, I'm nervous, I'm paranoid.
So you have to have a cup of that.
Yeah, I have to have several cups a day of that.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't feel like that's holding you back?
I know it is holding me back.
Well, why are you doing it?
That's a really good
love
question,
life?
actually.
Do you love life?
I do. I'd say through all the bad shit, I love life.
You love life?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, 150%.
You stand on that?
I stand on that.
Okay, so why are you allowing yourself to take something that's holding you back, that's destroying you slowly?
I think weakness, like not like
You
wanting
weak?
to quit. Yeah, and
You feel like you're weak?
yeah, I have addiction like so much in me that
But you say you love yourself.
I do love myself, but I
Okay.
also can see myself for what I am, and I can feel that at this moment in time, I'm not strong enough to give it up. So I know it's holding me back, but I'm just not strong enough to quit it right now.
At least you're being honest.
Yeah.
I mean, but you got to figure out a way
most
to
definitely
stop.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. Can't live life on drugs forever
No.
because it's a shitty life to
Did
live.
you use today
Kratom, yeah.
before you came here?
Yeah.
That's why you got the shakes, huh?
Yeah, before I got in the car.
I could tell you
Yeah,
shaking.
no, it's
like
it
you
is
got
addictive.
Parkinson's.
Yeah, it is addictive, and especially mixed with talking about real stuff, a little bit of camera anxiety, all that shit together. It really just it makes me feel like I'm not fully in control of myself.
So you're not.
No, I don't believe I am.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's completely in control of you.
it is. But when I'm on the drugs,
it runs your life.
I'd say I'm probably more addicted to money than I am to kratom, but those two things
But
are what
you
my
get
life
you get
revolves
money,
around.
but then you spend it on kratom.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really like kratom's very cheap.
I mean, I don't care
Yeah, no, I got
how
you.
cheap it is.
Yeah,
You're
I do
making
spend my money on it.
you're making money,
yeah,
and then you go spend it.
yeah,
You get it here, and then you issue it out this way.
pretty much. I mean, it's no different
That's
than
not
this.
smart.
Yeah, it's no different than when I used to smoke
Yeah,
cigarettes.
them not good.
No, and
You need to throw that away.
yeah, when I
That's
was
not good. I'm
I know.
serious.
I know. And that's the thing is knowing all the bad stuff that it does to you. I still love my life, but even though it doesn't truly make it better, in the moment it makes me feel like it's better.
It's a mind thing.
It is 100% a mind thing.
There's
It's
no way
all
in the
my head.
world that make you feel better. That's all in your mind.
Yeah,
That's not a reality.
no, it's a drug.
But why do you
induced-
keep lying to yourself and telling yourself, "Oh, this makes me feel better"? Why are you doing that to yourself?
I don't even know. I really
There
just,
got to be an answer.
I mean, like I said, weakness. I can't really give another answer. It's like asking somebody on drugs, why are you addicted? They'll probably have a different reason, but at the end of the day, I feel like the reason is weakness. They are not ready to give it up. They can't give it up.
So you
They
don't-
don't want to be sick for 2 weeks and then go cold turkey. They don't want to taper off because they like getting high. It's like that's my reason. That's my reasoning behind it. That's how I see it.
So you don't want to work on that, your weakness?
At the moment, nah.
No?
Not at the moment, no. I don't want to.
You don't really care about life like you say you do, right? Be honest with me.
I do care about life.
Okay, let's put it on a scale of 100%.
Yeah.
Where would you say you care about life at on a scale from 1 to 100?
1 to 100?
Honest number. Like, be honest. Because you're only lying to yourself.
So like 80%?
I doubt that.
Well, I mean...
Hey, look at me. I'm here.
Say if any, oh yeah.
I doubt that.
If anything, it's even higher. Because after going through the self-harm and stuff like that, it makes me value life so much more. And regardless of the drugs and stuff like that, like, I would never want to die. I would never want to, die because
you would never want to harm yourself.
I would never want to harm myself to the point where my life ends.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you would still harm yourself just as long as your life don't end.
Yeah.
No, see, it's
stupid.
No, I'm not going to say stupid. Yeah. No, you're not stupid. It's just something going on the inside that it's been built up for so long. It's like you go to this vape and you go to whatever else you use for a way to hide your pain, to fight your pain.
Yeah, a release, because when I'm on the drugs, I'm not feeling the pain as much.
But then when you sober up,
but when I sober up, it's right back to what it was before.
So you need to don't use that. Focus on fixing the pain. That's not fixing the pain. All that's doing is putting a blindfold on it.
That's
temporarily.
Exactly what it does, yeah.
It's blindfolded. Okay, this is a short-term blindfold. As soon as it's you sober up, and the blindfolds comes off.
Yeah.
And the feelings come back.
Yeah.
You got to find a way to work on that.
Yeah, and I think I need to work on myself too, because
it starts with you working on yourself.
Yeah.
But it starts with you really still harming yourself by doing these things.
I know.
By doing these drugs. I know. You're actually harming yourself.
Yeah.
It's a slow harm.
It's going to take years off my life. And
you want that.
I don't want
But you said you love your life, 80%.
Yeah,
I told you it was less.
I'd say that's why it is 80% though, because of the fact that like I know it's harming me, but that's not an 80% number. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, definitely.
Do you smoke weed?
I smoke weed.
Okay.
I may drink a little alcohol.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing the rest of this stuff.
Do you smoke blunts?
Sometime.
Okay.
I'm a zigzag person.
So you're more of like a hemp person.
I'm zigzags.
Okay.
Yeah. Zigzag person.
For example,
that right there.
I mean, here's the way I see it. We don't know what this is going to do to us. Cigarettes, tobacco in general.
You can Google and it'll tell you what that's going to do.
I know, but it hasn't.
That's why cigarettes on the pack it tell you.
Yeah.
This is what I'll do to you.
Too, but just about the nicotine.
But that's when people act like they can't read.
Yeah, true. And I agree
you
with
see
that.
it, you look at it, and it tell you right here. But once again, you put the blindfold on.
I mean,
and you don't see it because it's the flavor in there that you don't like the nicotine, you like the flavor.
Well, I don't like. I love cigarettes. I would much rather smoke a cigarette, but those hurt my throat real bad. I wake up in the morning with a sore throat, coughing and shit, phlegm all over. So I quit the cigarettes to go on to the vaping, which is shitty. But I feel like I'm more willing to risk the unknown, which is we don't know what this is going to do in 30 years versus a cigarette could or could not give you cancer. I'm pretty sure I know, but since it's not out there fully.
But I expect you to say that because most people, even I know people that, have done drugs and do drugs and they defend the drugs.
Yeah, and it's sad.
I don't let the drugs control me and I control the drugs, but their life is...
It's unfortunate. And I think also like pop culture has brung drugs into the mainstream so much more now that they're legalizing stuff and not just weed.
Drugs been around before you was born.
Yeah, most definitely before both of us.
But it's a big difference though, because when we were doing music in the 80s and the 90s, it was cats rapped about hustling, drug dealing.
Yeah.
Now a lot of the artists that rap or do music, they talk about the drugs they do.
Yeah.
And it corrupts the minds.
Yeah, and I'm guilty of it myself because I talk about both. I talk about the hustling in my music, but then I also talk about doing drugs and stuff because I just want to be. I glamorize it because that's what everybody else is doing and that's what people like.
So you're a follower. You're not
in
a leader.
Way, yeah, most definitely.
And you don't mind. That's cool.
No,
you admit it. I
respect
respect you.
Anyone who says they're not a follower unless they are 100% not wearing the poppin' brands or doing their own thing, not giving into this lifestyle, you know, they're lying to themselves. And I'll never do that. I'm a follower of so many different things, drugs being one of them, that I have to at least be honest with myself about that, you know.
But you love yourself.
I do love myself, yeah. And I love my family.
With the drugs.
And everyone around me. Yes, with the drugs. I mean,
you good?
Yeah. No, I
you
mean,
got the jitters. You all right?
No, I had hit
you
this
almost
since
flew
we're
up out
talking.
the seat, man. You all right?
I'm good, but I mean, not good in like the sense of still on drugs, you know. And one day,
what's your plan? And do you have, what are your goals? What are your
as
goals
far as
in life?
like addiction and beating it and stuff, or
Just your
everything.
goals in general. What's your life? What do you plan on doing with your life?
Yeah, going back to college. So just community college, just because I want to show my mom and my dad that I can get an education, and kind of like, you know, I do enjoy doing history, and when you get to pick your college classes, I enjoy that. I did pretty much all A's and B's my first semester of college. Then I took a year off to work on social media and stuff like that, trying to see if that would work out. But I feel like I can do both. So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna do at least get my associates, hopefully my bachelor's. But right now, just goal is to stack
That's what
my
your
money.
plans are?
Yeah.
When are you gonna start doing that?
Next semester.
Next semester,
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, that's my plan.
So you're gonna have to, let the drugs go.
Well, I do all online, but my goal
so
would
you
be,
can just
my goal would be to let the drugs go when I do that. But last college semester,
no, seriously, being honest with you,
Yeah.
you should
yeah, no, that's what I want
stop
to do.
destroying yourself. Use your head, man. Think smart. You have a lot of life ahead of you, and
That's true.
don't destroy your life. Don't allow nothing that you take into your system. Don't do nothing that's going to destroy you. That's going to shorten your life.
That's true.
It don't make sense.
As hard as it is to do, I know you're right. It's just like taking that action is going to be what I struggle with,
Okay, well, you said it'll be a 2 week of you just
Being sick as fuck.
going
Yeah.
through it. Okay, well, wouldn't you rather be sick for 2 weeks than to one day you look up and your kidneys is blown out, or liver gone? Like, you never know.
I would
You
like,
know?
I would like to do that, but at the same time, like drugs being around, especially just
No,
in my
drugs.
environment.
You go around the drugs.
You do, yeah, yeah. I circle around.
Yeah,
the drugs,
definitely.
basically.
Okay, drugs are around, but if you don't go around them, then you won't be involved with them.
That's true. I would like to.
If you
them
don't go to the liquor store, then you won't get a drink.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all of you. It's the decision is the ball is in your court.
Yeah.
And you say you love life, but at the same time you love drugs. So which one you love the most? The drugs or your life?
I mean, drugs are a part of my life.
But you got to separate.
Yeah.
You have to separate.
That's a hard separation to make, but I know you're right.
But you have to. Yeah. You have to, loved one.
You're right.
That's the only way you're going to get through the pain. That's the only way. That's the only way you're going to be able to fight through it, because the drugs, it just takes your mind to where it's like an illusion,
It's like a short feeling of happiness, but then you go back to regular life after that feeling is over.
And you say you want to go to college, that's a good thing.
Oh, yeah. I feel like everyone, no matter how they are doing financially, they should, get an education, only because there's so many people that put down people based on the way they look, how they speak, where they come from, that, that degree, however expensive it may be to get, I feel like it's worth it for everyone, and I really want to tell my siblings that and get that through to them, but I think they're smart enough to know that themselves.
But how are you going to, before I hit the water, look, check this out. How are you going to give some advice, but you're not living by it?
Yeah. That's where I struggle sometimes to get them to listen to my advice.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, it's facts.
How you going to say, don't do this, don't do this, but they look up and you're doing it?
Yeah.
That don't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. I feel like
you're not giving good. Yeah, that's why I tell you, think before you speak.
Yeah.
You're not being good advice to them. You're not being an example to them.
Yeah.
Come to them. Hey, you know what? I don't do this anymore. I stopped doing this. Like, I can't tell y'all when or what not to do, but I just want to be a big brother. I want to lead by an example. Yeah. And I left this alone, and now I'm getting ready to check in college. Why don't you do that? Maybe you can help assist seeing betterness in your family structure.
I would like that.
By you being a leader. But the only way you're going to be able to be a leader, it starts with, like, okay, the vape, it ain't as bad as the other stuff you do. So, okay, it can't just go cold turkey completely. I get it, but come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now.
To be honest, I would much rather just be able to smoke weed. I mean, because when I was smoking weed, I didn't have this. I didn't have no cigarettes. I had my back.
Well, why you don't smoke weed no more?
It gives me so much anxiety and paranoia that, because I'm prone to seizures. So if I have something really bad happen to me,
you have seizures.
I have seizures.
Okay.
So that's part of the reason I don't want to quit cold turkey on anything. But the main reason I can't smoke weed is because I'm fearful that all that anxiety and stress will lead to another seizure because it's happened before. So that's the reason I don't smoke weed.
The kratom, do it cause you to have seizures too?
The kratom's never caused me to have a seizure, but when I was smoking weed and really starting after a tolerance break, started getting anxiety from it. I was out of state for like 2 weeks and I didn't have enough weed for the whole trip. When I get back, I take a few hits off a blunt and I have like the worst panic attack of my life. I go to the hospital. They put me on Xanax because they said I was gonna have a heart attack. And I kept smoking weed.
Oh wow, you get paranoid.
Yeah,
paranoid,
that was bad.
Huh?
And I thought I got laced or something, but then I go on and I still smoke. Not as much as I had before the trip, but I still smoke every day. And then eventually after like 2 or 3 weeks, I had a seizure. And the doctors didn't know what caused it, but, you know,
when they asked you, do you do any kind of drugs or anything?
I was honest about it.
You told them?
And that's when
so
she
they
was
would
like,
know?
well, yeah, it's probably because all the stress and anxiety your body is putting on you because of your decision to smoke weed. And that's all I was doing at the time. So I got to think that it was...
Well, everybody's different.
Everyone is different. That's my brain chemistry.
Yeah, that's
entirely.
your brain chemistry, you know, but
that's why
I don't know if weed is...
I don't think it'll do that for majority of people.
Yeah,
I think that's just, I'm prone to seizures and that is a trigger, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. But that's the reason I can't smoke weed, and that's the reason I got back into opiates.
It don't trigger anything?
Other than like the cold sweats and the stress and shakes, all that stuff, I don't think that's not anything. So it triggers a lot of physical problems, even when I go a few hours without it, you know?
Yeah.
Just like opioids, honestly. It wasn't a lot different from when I was withdrawing from codeine or when I was withdrawing from, you know, Percocet or whatever. It was just as bad. Yeah.
Wow.
Damn near as bad. Maybe not quite as bad because I don't throw up on my food in the morning and just dry heaving and stuff.
So you wake up and throw up?
That's how I was when I was doing those drugs, yeah, and I would go without them. But the kratom doesn't cause that, so it's better, but I kind of did it as a replacement.
You said it's better?
Better than the opioids.
Oh, okay.
But I feel like that's only because...
I was going to say, you said better like it's good for you. No,
definitely not, no. It's just better than the opioids as far as you can't die from it because I lost... several homies all young.
Yeah.
From fentanyl. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that stuff is no joke.
That stuff's a monster.
And have you ever tried it?
Yeah, tried it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never ever wanted to touch that again after my homie died. So you a
sampler?
Yeah, I would say with most drugs, I've definitely tried them all at least once. Heroin, fentanyl, meth, all that shit. Yeah. Never smoked crack though, but everything else.
You snort it?
No, I've never done crack, but I've snorted coke before.
Okay, well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, Xanax, all
crack
that shit.
Is just rocked up.
Yeah,
you know?
there's pretty much no drug I've never done except for maybe DMT. Never done DMT. Everything else though, pretty much, yeah. Definitely never addicted to every substance because opioids was like my shit, but I pretty much tried
What was your
everything.
most drug of choice that had you addicted to most?
Definitely codeine and promethazine syrup, and then also a pure codeine syrup from Europe. I would get that shit shipped in, and so codeine is the opioid that was getting me addicted. But I was spending at one point almost $1,000 a week on that, and just ate through my money like crazy.
Wow.
Look back at all the shit I could have bought, could have given to my family, and it's pathetic, but at the same time, like I can't.
You didn't learn from it?
I can't be too hard on myself.
You didn't learn from it?
I learned enough to stay away from those drugs.
Okay.
But, you know, I found out about kratom. I was going through cravings. I was in the process of trying to quit, and I guess it found me. I found it.
So what you thought, you figured that was going to kind of weed you off? The heavier things?
I thought it would. Honestly, I'm going to be honest.
Be honest.
Yeah, I thought
because you only could lie
now,
to yourself. You can't lie to me.
I thought what it is now. I thought it was just going to be a replacement, a cheaper replacement. Give me the same feeling, but, you know, be cheaper.
Like you said, you go to the females to replace your moms. You go to
the kratom to replace the lean.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I think all of that is just a replacement for happiness, because I could be happy without my family, without my mom, without the drugs, without all this, but is it going to make life worth living? And that's where I struggle so much in not knowing the truth on that.
Well, you don't need that to be happy. Mm-hmm. You don't need the kratom to be happy.
No.
Definitely you don't need that. No. Yeah. You need to figure that part out, about your life, man. Like, I don't know who your influencers are, in your life.
Yeah.
You don't have like no uncles or nobody like that in your life to, inspire you, encourage you to do different.
I mean, my dad's...
You just all about... it's just you?
My dad's got no siblings.
Okay.
And my siblings are all younger than me.
How about your mom? She have siblings?
My mom has family. She's got a brother and 3 sisters, but they're completely cut off from our side of the family. That was over like some family problems and stuff, so I don't see them anymore either. So, really,
but what that have to do with the kids? You were involved in it, the situation?
I wasn't involved in it, but the stress that my mom was dealing with from that situation was bringing it upon ourselves.
Okay.
And it basically cut my cousins off.
It separated everybody.
Separated everyone, broke up the family, even the extended family,
Yeah.
But I'm trying to, I still text my cousins and stuff like that, but they live like way too far for me to see them,
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely, and then I got a lot of family in Mexico that would be good influences, but I can't go see them. So it's like the real family I do have is just my immediate family.
Okay.
Yeah. And my dad's trying his best and my siblings are trying their best.
Well, I mean, you have to step up.
Yeah,
and
that's
assist
all.
him.
This is all me. The drugs, I can't ask nobody to get me off that. I have to do that on my own.
I mean, that's the only way.
It is.
And people can give you all the advice in the world, but until you make it up here and here to let it go, then you're just going to continue to do it.
Exactly. And like I said, right now, it's not in me to quit, but I'm working towards it. At least in terms of getting financially more stable and getting my career more on track. And then from there, then I'll take the next step to get off the drugs. And then hopefully...
You feel like it helps you?
The drugs?
Create?
I feel like musically, yes. But I'm talking more like it motivates me. If I get up in the morning...
That sounds dumb as fuck.
It's stupid. But it's crazy how it works.
You sound dumb as fuck right now.
I mean, think about it this way.
You sitting here telling me a fucking drug motivates you?
It gives me short-term motivation to get my short-term tasks.
You got the wrong fucking motivator.
I do.
I
agree with that.
You really fucking do. You got the wrong motivator. Like,
I agree with that.
That sound ass right now. It don't even make sense what you're saying right now.
Yeah, and I think that's just
not being honest
being
with
so
you.
hooked on it,
Yeah.
It really, you live for the drug in a way. So even though it's something that's legal that you can buy at the gas station, I'm still living for it. That addiction has me in its grip.
He said it has me.
It does. I wish I could say had, but no, it's got me.
Yeah. Well, one day, hopefully, you can say had.
That's my goal.
Instead of have. Yeah. That's a
Sounds
better word. It sounds a hell of a lot better.
Does, yeah.
You know what I mean? Less letters as well. Letter less.
Exactly. One day.
Yeah. Keep working towards it, man.
Thank you. I'm gonna definitely keep working towards it.
Keep doing things that's gonna help you, not harm you. Like that's like a key thing, man. I just can't express that enough. You being young, man. We say you 19, finna be at 20.
Yeah,
and when?
Next month.
Next month?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. You young. I feel like, man, you got to really get focused. You really got to get focused, man, and go for it. If you say, you creating content and this is what you want to do in life, then you really have to give all your focus and everything to that for it to work. That's the way it's going to work. That's the only way it's going to work. But at the same time, you have to remove things that's not beneficial in your life.
Yeah.
You have to. You really have to. You have to remove these things. Yeah. Because you want to make a change in life, right?
Yeah.
You want to be better in life, right?
Yeah.
You want what's best in life because you want a future out of life, right?
Yeah.
You want what's best for your siblings.
Yeah, for my family above
right?
all. Yeah.
And your father.
Yeah.
And hopefully you and your mom come to
I'm hoping so,
understanding.
yeah.
You know, hopefully she come into an understanding. But it starts with you. You have to start leading by an example. If you're not leading by an example, then what are you? Who are you?
Yeah.
What do you stand for? What do you represent? You have to be an example in your sibling's life. And it's time for you to start being an example now in life. You have to.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? You're going to have to create your own guidance. You don't have guidance, but you're going to have to create guidance. You're going to have to create that guidance that's going to inspire you, that's going to tell you, like, look, this is not it.
Yeah.
This is not it. You don't be over here, be over here, where life can be better. Other than that, you're going to be like in a wheel. You know what I mean?
It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Stuck in it.
Yeah, you're going to be you're going to be stuck in it. And you're just going to remain there. You're not going to get anywhere because it's just going to continuously go in a circle. And you're going to be in that circle just spinning and spinning and spinning, and you'll never have a chance to change. Never. You got to work on that, little bro. Like,
I do.
For real.
I do.
But you got to start. You got to start. The time is now. You know, you got to really make up your mind. Like, only you can make up your mind, but you got to make up your mind now to be better, to, like I said, to be that example for your siblings. If you can't help you, how can you help them?
You can't.
They need you.
Yeah.
They need you. So you got to step up to the plate and help your father. And help your siblings.
Yeah.
You have to.
I need to do that more by helping myself, I feel like, at this point.
It starts with you.
You're right.
If you're not good, then you're not good for nobody. You're not. You won't be. Yeah. It's impossible. You just won't be. At all. So you got to think about that, man. You really got to think about that. You know?
Gives me a lot of shit to sit on, for sure, especially I'm not making any promises on this, but with the kratom, like, just even the way I'm feeling right now, you know, it's that's why I didn't bring a cup in here, because I wanted to have this raw, you know, not me strung out.
Well, if you did, you wouldn't have been right here with it.
What do you mean?
If you'd have brought a cup in here, you wouldn't have been right here with it at all. No,
it wouldn't have been real emotion.
Yeah.
It would have been me just, you know, things going in one ear out the other type shit, which I feel like I have.
Put your finger in this ear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it don't leave.
Yeah.
Because I speak from the heart, and everything I say, I mean.
Tell. That's genuine shit.
Straight out. Or I don't speak. You know? If I ain't got nothing good to say, then I'm not going to say nothing at all. But I see it a lot. I see my young people out here destroying themselves. And it's only right I say something. I've never been the one that bite my tongue for nothing or no one. If I see something or recognize something, I'm going to speak on it. And I'm going to speak on it sincerely. If you want to live a better life and you want things to get better in your life, like I said earlier, seconds ago, the time is now. Straight out. The time is now, bro. You need to really focus on that. You know, pay attention. You know, like don't sit here and listen to me and not take it in.
I know that's the hard part.
It's very important.
It's like taking the words you're giving me, because they obviously make sense to me in my head, and saying fuck the drugs, I'll be sick.
Well, it ain't gonna happen overnight. I get it.
I know.
I understand that. I understand that. You got to start somewhere. You have to. It's just that simple, man. You know, and stop putting yourself in predicaments that backfire on you. You know, you done had some things, like I said, that, you know, that happen in your life that it's so much going on at once to where you can lose control, and you don't want to lose control.
Yeah, and
I definitely don't want to lose control.
Yeah, I definitely picked back up, like you were just saying, with all the stuff going on. I definitely did lose control for a substantial amount of time, you know? And I'm saying right now, I'm probably not even fully in control of it yet, which is why I'm not just going to be able to kick the cup like that.
Yeah, I understand.
I want to, but I want to more, you know?
Yeah. Well, what you want the most is a better life.
Mm-hmm.
I hope
100%.
100% that's what you want.
Yeah.
Out of life, a better life. And I hope you want to live life for a long time. You know, not short term, for a long time, as long as you can live life.
Yeah.
I really hope that.
That's why I'm actually not getting any like neck tattoos or face, because I want to be able to be an old man rocking my like, you know, turtleneck sweatshirt or whatever, and just, you know, clean from it all the dirt. Even if it's not fully washed off my hands, you know, I can make a different impression on people, and, you know, just get legal money, but definitely be clean of drugs, and be able to be like, you know, a drink at the country club or some shit when I'm an old man. But other than that, I don't want to be, maybe a cigar here and there, but I definitely don't want to be, you know, 30 years old still drinking Kratom, and definitely no older than that, or even 22.
And once you hit 20, that 30 come like that.
Yeah, the teenage years are over.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm almost there.
Teens is gone.
Yep.
You know, you're a grown man. You're an adult.
Yeah.
You know, and from what I can tell from your story, you've been an adult since you was younger.
For a long time, yeah.
You've been an adult for a long time.
And not all of that is good. You know, I've been living like an adult in terms of, you know, binge drinking and smoking also. But I feel like if you deal with adult problems, you're going to find adult temporary solutions, meaning drugs. But it doesn't have to be like that.
Not for everybody.
No.
That's definitely not for everybody.
Yeah.
How about your mom and your dad? Did they do drugs?
Well, my dad's an alcoholic.
Oh, you said that. Okay.
Yeah, my mom, though, she just, when she does drink, she goes all out, usually passes out, or, you know,
So she's
throws
never
up.
did no drugs, just drank until she fall out?
I can't really believe fully everything she's told me, but as far as she's told me, she's never.
You feel like she lied to you?
I think she lies to me about a lot of stuff, yeah. But I can't get the truth out of her, you know. So I can't really do anything about that.
Okay. Stay focused. Stay on your shit, man.
Most definitely.
You know?
Try my best.
Yeah, well, stop trying and start doing.
Yeah.
You know, start doing, you know?
Yeah.
Start doing, man. Live life as long as you can. Love life first. Believe in yourself, because that's where it starts. You know? And don't destroy yourself. I'm OG Cuicide, man. It's OG Cuicide in the building. Make sure y'all subscribe. Tune in every week to OG Cuicide in the building. This is my first official live. Amazing. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Until next time. Peace.